What's up guys, Talresin here with another video for everybody's golf hotshots. In this video, I want to go over my top 5 tips and tricks for the game. Now in making this video, I wanted there to be something for everyone, so I tried to include tips for the beginner players that are new to the game, as well as tips that will help the very advanced players perhaps exploit the game a little bit to improve their scores. So hopefully you find one of these tips very helpful. Again, you probably won't find all the tips helpful, but my goal is that everybody that tunes into this video at least walks away with one thing that they can take back to the course that will help them improve their scores. All right, so my first tip is going to be water bounces. Now, I'm not sure how many new players know about this, but you can actually bounce the ball off the water, skip it like you would a rock on a pond, and have it land on a green. Now, this is something that you're going to use extremely situationally. This is not something you're going to bust out on every water hole. This is like we're down one with one to play type of thing, because you need 3 conditions to be met in order to pull off this type of shot. You need a ton of tailwind with you. You need to be using a wood, and you need to apply topspin. Okay, so the more of those things that you do, the better. You don't need to PI, as you're going to see here, but the more tailwind, the more topspin. If you PI, those things are all going to have a big impact. And as you can see, you can pull off some pretty crazy stuff with this, but it is super, super risky. So I don't advise you go around trying to hit it in the water, but it is something you can do if you ever find yourself in that situation. All right, tip number 2 is going to be to customize your bag setup to make sure you're taking advantage of either your character's passive or their special mode. And I talked about this in my special mode, but the passives apply to this as well. So if we look at Sasha here, she says she enjoys swinging woods from the fairway. What that means is she gets an additional perfect impact bar, an additional white bar, anytime she swings a wood from the fairway. So when we pick our clubs, if we just select a club here, it's going to take us to this other screen where there's 5 different bags to choose from. This is new. This is a new feature that's not been in any other Hot Shots game. I personally think that the classic bag is the strongest if there's no passives and there's no special modes in play. This is just what a normal golf bag looks like. You want as many irons as possible for those high, landing, good angle of descent type of shots. But the most important thing is that your bag facilitates your character's abilities. So in Sash's case, we want to make sure that we're playing either the classic bag or this bag that's loaded up with woods. Now, I think this bag's a little bit too wood heavy, but again, if you wanted to do that, I could live with it because at least you're playing to her passive. And in my special mode video, I talk about there's some special modes that activate on certain clubs, and so you want to make sure that your character has a bunch of those in the bag. If you have an ability that works on hybrids, this bag's going to suck for you. You're going to want to grab a bag with a ton of hybrids in it. So this is a new thing. It took me a little while to kind of realize this and realize that it's kind of in play in a lot of the gameplay mechanics. So just make sure that whenever you're picking a bag and a character, that those two things complement each other, and that your bag is going to allow for you to use your character's passive and their special mode. Okay, moving right along, tip number 3, I want to talk about these caddy stickers. These are very strange, and this one's going to leave you wanting a little bit because I don't have like all the answers, but I do have some of the answers. The crazy thing about these caddy stickers is that you cannot take them off. So whenever you put a sticker down, you're committing to using that space in some capacity, which is a bit interesting. So you can see here, I've got this sticker set up with a double special and a plus power shot and a plus extra distance. I kind of had to do it this way because as I unlocked, the various plus side spin, plus control, all these different stickers, I just loaded them up. I didn't know that you couldn't take them off, you could only replace them. So what this means now is I can't just exclusively select for one buff. Whereas on Rune here, I've just got one sticker that gives me the buff that I want. I don't really like power's nice and an extra distance is nice, but what I want is these special modes. So this sticker allows me to the only buff I can get with this caddy is a special mode. Do I have concrete evidence that having 2 stickers of special mode gives you more special mode, and having 2 special mode stickers plus these other 2 stickers gives you more? I don't. But here's what my sort of I've got 100 hours in the game now. Here's what my sort of like intuitive evidence suggests. is that I have been getting more um, special modes with Emma than I have been with Rune, even though Rune can only give me special modes, but she's also not level 20. She's also not fully leveled up, so it's not like conclusive. I'm gonna I'm gonna experiment more with this, and later down the road there'll be an advanced guide about the stickers and how to opt. But just be aware, you cannot take them off. So when you commit to putting a sticker in a spot, you have at least decided that for sure something is gonna go there. And again, I would love to say that, oh, this is fine because we've used up the whole sticker board, and that just means we're gonna get two really good chances at special modes, and we're also going to get power modes, and we're also going to get. That hasn't been my experience. We just get overloaded with stuff because we have the sticker board full. But it's also my experience that we do get a little bit more special procs when we're running double than one. So lots to be sort of discussed and looked at here. But the main point of this video is this: don't just go overloading your caddies with stickers. Okay, like I've been very cautious with my second caddy because again, you cannot take these off. And I for sure want to keep a caddy that has none because I want to be able to have an option to play with my friends where we just play standard old hotshots where we go back to fair play mode, which is a nice mode they have in the game where you can play with just standard characters, no stat upgrades. But then the caddy mechanic is still a little bit game warping, so you could go to a caddy that does not have any stickers, that isn't imparting any buffs. So I'm going to keep a caddy naked for sure, just so I can do that. But be careful putting these stickers on, and more to come in terms of how we can better optimize this. This is something that I'm very curious about, and as I progress more caddies and I'm able to experiment a little more, hopefully I'll have a little more information regarding this. But it is something to sort of keep an eye on. Okay, so those are some tips. Now I'm going to go over some tricks you can use to help kind of exploit the game's mechanics a little bit. This game uses fixed flyer lies instead of variable flyer lies, which means if you PI, you'll always get a non-flyer, and if you don't PI, you'll always get a flyer. So we can game this and actually just play the flyer most of the time because it's obviously easier to not perfect impact than it is to perfect impact. So we're just going to go ahead and adjust our distance based on the fact that we're knowing it's going to fly. Flyers have typically added about 15 to 20% to a shot. I'm not sure which one it is in this game, but I can tell you that again, it's fixed. So whatever a flyer does, it does the same thing to each ball. So I've just been kind of knocking them back about 15% and just playing the flyer. And I've had really good results with that because I know for sure I'm going to get the flyer as long as I don't hit a PI. Okay, last but not least, my final trick in this game is how to sort of fix the side spin shots. I have been as frustrated with everybody at the side spin in this game in the fact that if you miss the perfect impact, it could go the opposite direction of the way you're trying to spin it, which is terrible because most of the time you're applying side spin, you're trying to go around something. So if it just can't sort of went out and didn't come back, I could understand that being a good penalty. But the fact that it doesn't just come out and not goes, it goes the opposite way is so penal because if you're trying to draw it around a tree, hitting a slice in that situation is the worst thing you want. And so side spin almost became unplayable until I figured out there's a rule to the madness. So here is the rule. If you miss the shot on the opposite side of the spin you're trying to put on, it will always at least give you that shot. It won't give you the double cross where you're trying to hook a ball then it slices or vice versa. So let me just explain. So and I'm gonna show you some examples here, and you're gonna see on the D-pad that I'm putting right spin on the ball. That is to say, I'm putting a draw on the ball. Okay. Now watch what happens when I hit a draw and I don't hit the perfect impact when it's left of the perfect impact line or right of the perfect impact line. Pay attention. So there you can see if you miss it on, so there I was trying to put a draw on. So if I miss it right with a draw, it's always going to give me the double cross. If I miss it early when I'm trying to play a draw, it's always going to give me the draw. So if I want to make sure 100% there's a tree in my way, a mountain, whatever, I'm trying to move it around an object, I can just play to the side of the impact, even if it means rabbit or turtling. A rabbit or a turtle, as long as I get the shape that I want off, is so much better than having it double cross and I'm trying to hit a draw around a tree and it said slices right into it. That's how you're gonna, blow up a hole and blow up a round. So there's been so many comments about this on Reddit and things, and I'm not the first one to figure this out. Other people have figured this out as well. But yes, you can really make sure that it's gonna spin the way you want as long as you hit the impact on the opposite side that you are putting the spin on. Again, so I'll do a left spin example here. I'm trying to fade the ball. So that was on the left side on a left side shot, so it double crossed. But if I go right side on a left side shot, it's going to give me my fade. So this makes the side spin so much better and so much more playable because I agree with everybody. If it was the way that everybody thought it was, where it could just randomly double cross you, completely unplayable. But no, you actually do have quite amount of control over your side spin. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you found at least one of those tips or tricks useful. I've been getting a lot of requests for a putting guide. I am working on that. The putting in this game is very different from the other hot shots, so please don't go look at my other putting guide from the other game. That formula will no longer work. But I am looking to get that out to you guys as soon as possible. And until then, I'll see you on the course.